They called her peg leg and half girl. The moment the quarterback said, "Who would date a cripple?" the cafeteria erupted in laughter. 15 years later, those same voices went silent when a custom Mercedes pulled up to the reunion. They had no idea the girl they mocked for losing her leg was now a 3-time Paralympic gold medalist and Nike's global face of adaptive athletics. And when she stepped out wearing her medals, everything changed. Before we go any further, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means everything to us, and it helps us bring you even more intriguing stories. Now, let's begin. Cold rain drummed against the hospital window the night Maya Chen first saw her prosthetic leg. The metal and carbon fiber limb sat in its case like a foreign object, something that belonged to someone else's life. She was 15. Cancer had taken her left leg below the knee 6 months earlier. Now she faced returning to Riverside High as a different person. A broken person, she thought. Someone people would stare at. Her mother sat beside the bed, squeezing her hand. "You're still you, baby. Still my Maya." But Maya couldn't feel it. The girl who ran track, who danced at parties, who blended invisibly into the crowd, that girl was gone. This new version wore a permanent label she never asked for. The first day back, she walked through those double doors with her heart hammering against her ribs. She'd practiced her gait for weeks, trying to make it look natural. The physical therapist said she was doing remarkably well. But the moment she entered the main hallway, conversations stopped. Heads turned. Whispers started like brush fire. "Is that Maya? What happened to her leg? Oh my God, look!" She kept her eyes forward, gripping her backpack straps until her knuckles went white. She made it 3 steps before someone laughed. Not a surprised laugh, a cruel one. By lunch, she had a nickname, Peg Leg. She heard it whispered at the water fountain. Saw it scrawled on a bathroom stall. When she walked into the cafeteria, someone made a clicking sound with their tongue, imitating a pirate. Laughter rippled through nearby tables. Brittany Walsh led the cruelty with practiced ease. Blonde hair always perfect, voice always loud enough to carry. She sat with the popular crowd near the windows, holding court like royalty. When Maya passed their table, Brittany stage whispered to her friends, "There goes half girl. I wonder if she gets half price on shoes now." The table exploded with laughter. Maya's throat tightened. She kept walking, found an empty table in the corner, sat with her lunch tray untouched. Her appetite had vanished. The fluorescent lights felt too bright, the noise too loud. Everything felt wrong. The worst moment came during gym class. She had a medical exemption, but Coach Patterson insisted she participate when possible to avoid feeling excluded. Maya sat on the bleachers while others played volleyball. That's when Jake Morrison, the star quarterback everyone adored, approached with his friends. His Letterman jacket hung perfectly on broad shoulders. His smile looked friendly until he spoke. So like, genuine question. He gestured toward her leg. "How does that even work? Do you take it off to shower?" His friends snickered. Maya's face burned. Before she could respond, he turned to his buddy. "Dude, who would even date a cripple? Like, seriously." The words landed like physical blows. His friend laughed. "Bro, that's messed up." But he was laughing too. They walked away, leaving Maya sitting there with tears blurring her vision. She didn't cry, not then. She wouldn't give them that satisfaction, but something inside her cracked that day, something that would take years to rebuild. She stopped going to football games, avoided school dances, ate lunch in the library. She graduated a semester early, desperate to escape that building and everyone in it. On her last day, no one said goodbye. No one signed her yearbook. She walked out those doors swearing she'd never look back. But she also made herself a promise. She would become someone those people could never diminish, someone whose achievements would speak louder than their cruelty ever could. 15 years later, the reunion invitation arrived in her inbox with cheerful graphics and nostalgic phrases. "Celebrate how far we've come." The attachment included a special request. We'd be honored if you, as our most distinguished alumna, would keynote our inspirational alumni speaker series. Maya stared at the words, distinguished alumna. They had no idea who they were asking. The committee signed the email with names she recognized. Brittany Walsh-Chen, event coordinator. The irony tasted sharp. Brittany had gotten married, kept her maiden name hyphenated, and apparently forgot the girl she tortured. A separate email arrived from the principal. We're so proud to claim you as a Riverside graduate. Your Paralympic achievements and Nike partnership have brought tremendous honor to our school. Maya almost laughed. Honor to their school. They'd given her nothing but pain. She sat in her training facility office, surrounded by medals and sponsorship plaques. 3 Olympic gold medals hung on the wall. Her prosthetic blade leaned against the desk, the one that carried her to victory. Photos showed her crossing finish lines, standing on podiums, wearing Nike's adaptive athletics gear in international campaigns. The girl they called Half Girl had become whole in ways they couldn't imagine. She'd poured every ounce of pain into training. Every cruel word became fuel. Every laugh became motivation. She ran until her lungs burned and her muscles screamed. She lifted until she couldn't lift anymore. She transformed suffering into strength, humiliation into hunger. And she'd won. Not just races. She'd won her life back. Her phone buzzed. Her publicist. The school's really pushing for this appearance. It's great exposure. Nike loves the inspirational angle. Maya closed her eyes. Part of her wanted to decline, to let them wonder forever who their distinguished alumna really was. But another part, the part that survived their cruelty, wanted them to see. Wanted them to know exactly who they'd underestimated. She typed a simple response. I'll be there. The weeks before the reunion passed in a blur of training and preparation. Maya didn't plan some grand revenge. She simply planned to exist fully, powerfully, undeniably. She confirmed details with her team. The custom Mercedes adapted for her prosthetic would be detailed and ready. Her appearance would be polished but authentic. She'd wear her medals, not as a costume, but as truth. She reviewed her speech, though she barely needed notes anymore. She'd told her story 100 times at schools, conferences, corporate events. But this time felt different. This time she'd be speaking to the people who tried to write her story for her, the ones who decided she was less than before she could decide who she'd become. The night before the event, she stood in her apartment looking out over the city lights. Her reflection in the window showed a woman who'd earned every scar, every victory, every moment of peace she'd fought to claim. The prosthetic leg that once felt like a curse had become her greatest teacher. It taught her resilience. It taught her that worth isn't measured by what you've lost, but by what you refuse to let take you down. She was ready. Reunion evening arrived with clear skies and golden light. Maya dressed carefully in a tailored blazer and elegant pants that didn't hide her prosthetic. She wanted it visible. She wore her 3 gold medals on navy blue ribbons around her neck. Her Nike ambassador credentials hung from her bag. Her hair fell in sleek waves past her shoulders. She looked in the mirror one last time. The girl from those hallways was still in there somewhere, but she'd grown into someone stronger. The drive to Riverside High felt surreal. Her driver navigated the familiar streets while Maya watched the old neighborhood pass by. The school looked smaller than she remembered, less intimidating, just a building full of people who once held all the power in her teenage world. That power had evaporated the moment she left. Her custom Mercedes pulled into the parking lot just as the event began inside. Through the windows, she could see people gathering in the decorated gymnasium, the same gym where Jake Morrison destroyed her with 6 casual words, where she'd sat on bleachers feeling invisible and enormous all at once. She stepped out of the vehicle, her prosthetic blade visible below her pant leg, the blade that carried her to Olympic glory. Carbon fiber and determination. She walked toward the entrance with steady, confident steps, each one deliberate, each one hers. Inside, the gymnasium had transformed. String lights hung from the rafters. Round tables covered in white linens filled the floor. A small stage stood at one end with a podium and microphone. People mingled in clusters, holding wine glasses, laughing at old jokes. They looked older, softer, more ordinary than the giants they'd seemed 15 years ago. No one recognized her at first. She checked in at the registration table. The volunteer, someone she vaguely remembered from chemistry class, glanced at her name tag and froze. Maya Chen? The Olympian? Oh my God. She fumbled with papers. We're so honored. You're our keynote speaker. The woman's eyes kept darting to the medals, then to the prosthetic, then back to Maya's face. Confusion flickered there. Recognition hadn't landed yet. Maya smiled politely. Thank you. Where should I sit? The volunteer pointed to a reserved table near the stage. As Maya walked across the gym floor, conversations began to pause. People noticed the medals first, then the Nike logo on her bag, then her face. Whispers started spreading like ripples in water. Is that really her? The Paralympic runner? Why is she here? Someone pulled out their phone, searching. Oh my God! She went to Riverside. She graduated with us. The realization moved through the room in waves. Maya reached her table and sat. From this vantage point, she could see the whole room. There, near the back, Brittany Walsh stood with a clipboard, coordinating volunteers. Her blonde hair was shorter now, cut in a professional bob. She wore a dress that screamed trying too hard. She laughed with someone, completely unaware. And there, 3 tables over, Jake Morrison sat with his old football buddies. His hair was thinning. His face had gone soft around the edges. He wore a polo shirt that strained slightly at the belly. He looked like someone whose glory days were firmly behind him. Neither of them had recognized her yet, but they would. The program started. A former student council member took the podium to welcome everyone. She made jokes about outdated yearbook photos and awkward teenage fashion choices. The crowd laughed easily. Then she transitioned to the main event. Tonight, we have the incredible honor of hearing from one of Riverside's most accomplished graduates, a 3-time Paralympic gold medalist, Nike Global Ambassador, and advocate for adaptive athletics. Please welcome Maya Chen. Applause filled the room as Maya stood. She walked to the stage, her gait smooth and practiced despite the prosthetic. She didn't rush. When she reached the podium, she adjusted the microphone and looked out at the crowd. Some faces showed admiration, others showed curiosity. A few showed nothing yet, still processing. Then she saw it. Brittany's face drained of color. Her clipboard slipped from her hands and clattered to the floor. Her mouth opened in a small O of recognition and horror. She remembered. 3 tables over, Jake Morrison's confident smile faltered. He leaned forward, squinting as if trying to confirm what his brain was telling him. His buddy whispered something. Jake's face went pale. He remembered too. Maya let the silence stretch for a moment. Then she began. 15 years ago, I walked through these doors as a 15-year-old girl who'd just lost her leg to cancer. Her voice was steady, clear. I was terrified. I wanted to disappear, and in many ways I did. She paused, scanning the room. Some people shifted uncomfortably in their seats. I was given nicknames I didn't choose. Peg leg, half girl. I ate lunch alone because no one wanted to sit with the girl who was different. I heard people laugh when I walked by, not because I'd said something funny, but because my body had become a joke to them. A few people in the audience looked down at their tables. Someone coughed. I had someone ask me in front of witnesses who would ever date a cripple. She didn't look at Jake, but she felt him shrink in his chair. I had people whisper that I should get half price on shoes. She didn't look at Brittany either, but she heard a sharp intake of breath from that direction. For a long time, I believed them. I believed I was less than. Broken. Unworthy of the space I took up. Her voice softened slightly, but lost none of its strength. It took me years to understand that their words said everything about them and nothing about me. She gripped the podium lightly. Losing my leg was the second worst thing that happened to me as a teenager. The worst was losing my sense of worth, because people around me decided I didn't deserve kindness. Tears streaked down several faces in the audience. A teacher Maya barely remembered had her hand pressed to her mouth. But I'm not here to make anyone feel guilty. She met the crowd's eyes directly. I'm here because I learned something those years taught me. Your value isn't determined by other people's limitations. Your worth isn't measured by your body, your circumstances, or the cruelty of those too small to see you clearly. She touched one of the gold medals around her neck. This medal represents 4 years of training, 6 hours a day, bleeding feet, exhausted muscles, mental barriers I had to break through one painful step at a time. She touched the second medal. This one represents the moment I stopped running away from my past and started running toward my future. She touched the third. And this one represents every person who ever told me I couldn't, because they were wrong. The applause started slowly, then built into something thunderous. People stood. Not everyone at first, but the wave of standing ovations spread until nearly the entire room was on its feet. Maya saw teachers wiping their eyes, former classmates nodding with tears streaming. Even some of Brittany's old crowd stood, looking shaken. Brittany remained seated, face buried in her hands. Jake had his arms crossed tight, jaw clenched, unable to look at the stage. Maya felt no satisfaction in their discomfort, only a quiet sense of completion. They didn't have power anymore. They never really did. When the applause finally died down, Maya concluded simply, "If you take nothing else from tonight, remember this. Be kind. You never know what someone is carrying. You never know who they'll become. And your words, whether cruel or kind, leave marks that last far longer than you imagine." She stepped back from the podium. "Thank you." The applause rose again. This time it felt different. Not performative or polite, but genuine. As Maya walked off the stage, several people approached her immediately. A woman she barely remembered from English class gripped her hands. "I'm so sorry. I should have said something. I should have been better." Her voice broke. Maya squeezed her hands gently. "Thank you. That means something." Others offered similar apologies, their faces raw with recognition and regret. Maya accepted each one with grace, not because she owed them forgiveness, but because she'd already freed herself from the weight of their past actions. Across the room, Brittany gathered her things quickly, avoiding eye contact with everyone. She slipped out a side door before anyone could speak to her. Jake and his buddies left soon after, their laughter notably absent. But Maya stayed. She talked with former teachers who remembered her kindness. She took photos with people who asked respectfully. She answered questions about training and the Paralympics and what it felt like to represent her country. She existed fully in that space, no longer the girl hiding on the bleachers, but the woman who'd earned every inch of ground she stood on. As the evening wound down, Maya stepped outside into the cool night air. The parking lot was nearly empty. Her driver waited by the Mercedes. She paused for a moment, looking back at the building. The place that once held so much power over her now looked small. Just a building, just a memory. She climbed into the car, settled into the seat, and exhaled deeply. Her phone buzzed with messages. Her coach congratulating her. Her publicist sharing social media buzz. Several former classmates sending private apologies and words of admiration. She'd read them later. For now, she let herself sit in the quiet victory of the moment. Not victory over them. Victory over the voice in her head that once believed their words. Victory over the shame that tried to define her. Victory in the simple, powerful act of becoming exactly who she was meant to be. The car pulled away from Riverside High. Maya watched it disappear in the rearview mirror until it was nothing but a distant shape against the night sky. She never needed to go back again. She'd already moved forward. If this story moved you, pass it on. Someone out there needs to know that what breaks you can also build you into something stronger. And for more intriguing stories of resilience and triumph, don't forget to subscribe. Your support means the world to us. Share these messages with the world.